Welcome to another edition of Now Lifestyle. I'm your host, Florence Canada. Today's show is all about overcoming adversity to achieve success and fulfillment. Please welcome our first guest today, author Behnam Bakhshandeh. He is an author, an executive coach, a speaker, and trainer. Welcome, Behnam, to our show today.
Hi, good evening.
Behnam, tell us a little bit about your background and life as a young man living in Iran.
Well, there's a lot to say. I have a lot of great memories in my childhood. I was born and raised in south of Iran, a small town called Abadan. The town was very small, however, is a world famous because at the time, the biggest oil refinery was in that town. So we had a lot of interaction with other nationalities, mostly British, Germans, French. People were living in that town. And I really enjoy my upbringing there. And then I finished my formal education in Tehran, the capital. And then I came to the United States in 1986. Actually, exactly April 22nd, 1986. That was almost 25 years ago.
And I understand, Behnam, that you were married in Iran.
Yes.
Just a few days before you left. Yeah,
actually, a few days before the war started. I was a student, same as my wife at the time. And it's summer, we came home to South. I'm a southern boy, but south of Iran. And we got married. And at the time when we were getting married, actually, we hear firearms. We hear fighting. And we thought it's just kind of border activities and will be settled within the next couple of days. So much we knew. 8 years later, war stopped. But yeah, that was a very hard time for my family and people of my town and people of my country.
And what were your challenges as a new immigrant to the United States, Behnam?
Well, when I came here, I was not speaking English. I remember I had $100 in my pocket. I spent the first $2, I bought a can of beer in Boston Airport. So I had $98. I was not speaking a word of English. And I think that's by itself is a common challenge for any immigrant who come into any country.
Yes.
But I had a very strong belief that I'm in the right place. The country who would provide me opportunity to make something out of myself. And as I said, Francis, in the last 17 years, speaking English, writing English, and working with English language is my major income, is my only income. And for immigrant who was not speaking English, coming here, speaking English as my career, it was a challenge by itself. But the biggest challenge was not knowing many people. My younger brothers was living in this country. My uncles were living here. But supporting myself, supporting my daughter,
yes.
And not being a foreigner by itself, especially being Middle Eastern, was a little bit of challenge. And but I'm very grateful for opportunity to went through these challenges, and here I am.
And Behnam, you certainly have accomplished so much since your journey from Iran to the United States.
Yes.
Tell us more about your accomplishments like the Carlsbad 5000, Behnam, and other accomplishments that you have.
As you mentioned, the Carlsbad 5000, I didn't run that. I walked it because I have 2 broken knees. But that was a challenge by itself, and actually that came out of one of my leadership training programs I did in San Diego. And we challenged each other. All the participants signed up for Carlsbad 5000 last year, and we run it together. I would say my biggest accomplishments since I came here is my company that I established in the last 8 years. As you mentioned, I'm a speaker, author, executive coach, and director. Recently published my book, Conspiracy for Greatness. And I can say, putting my education aside, making the company aside, my passion is when I see I make a difference with people. When I see I save somebody's marriage. When I see I save somebody's business. When I see somebody's going in the wrong direction and we can turn him or her or their business around. That is such an accomplishment that I cannot put a price on it. and I cannot put it in a forte or box of one thing. It's such a wide variety that I'm very passionate about and very, very fulfilled about.
Behnam, it certainly sounds like that is your passion, changing
Yes.
people's lives around. In today's economic climate, with so many people struggling out there, do you have some words of advice and encouragement for those that are struggling in this economic times?
Absolutely. And I don't call myself, I'm not a guru. I give people pearl of wisdom. But I am like any other American in this day and time. We are struggling with the economy. My advice will be, don't let your money or your possession define you.
I see.
Because who you are is not your home, your car, your suit, your money. These are all possessions. They're nice things to have. It's a good thing to have home. It's good to have a position. Good to have a job. But that would not define us as human beings. My advice is don't forget who you are. Look at your heart, look at your soul, look at your passion. That is who you are, and keep going forward.
Those are wonderful words of advice,
Thank
and they're so encouraging, Behnam. What advice do you have for making our relationships healthy, whether it be our relationships with our significant others, our children, our parents, or siblings?
Oh my God, I can talk about this for 3 days in a row. As a general rule, I would say bring your expectation low. Don't have a high expectation. Accept people the way they are and exactly the way they're not. Because usually the complex starts with people, with our parents, with our children, with our significant others. When we expect them to be a certain way, I call it we are shooting all over ourselves. They should be this way, they shouldn't be that way. But people are the way they are. If we love them unconditionally and bring our expectation lower, and we don't get hooked to how they love us versus letting them love us. And then, you know, as I said, I can talk about this for days, but put it in the short sentences is, look at the world from their eyes, and then you understand them, and then the complex will be lower.
I see. What advice, Behnam, do you have for other people who, in general, are facing a difficult time in their life, in general?
That shall pass too. Times will pass. If you look at all the hard time we had,
yes,
they all passed. It brings me back to the first thing that I said. If we define by our passion, our vision for life, our soul, nothing can change us. These things go up and down. Difficulty in marriage, difficulty in health, difficulty in finance, that shall pass too. Yes. It's all be okay.
And Behnam, what gave you your personal inspiration to get over so many hurdles in your life and to go on and become an author? What gave you your personal inspiration and motivation and passion?
There is a lot of people in my life that influenced me, my father, my mother. I read a lot about the ancient Persian philosophy of Sufism and religion of Zoroastrianism, which is ancient Iranian religion. I inspired with a lot of great leaders in the world, Dr. Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela. I can go through so many names. When I read about them, when I studied them, I got inspired. And one thing I thought, if they could do it, I can do it too. You know, do you notice Leonardo da Vinci had 24 hours and you and I have 24 hours? How do we use these 24 hours? Up to us. Yes. I thought, you know, I have the same brain, I have the same anatomy, I have the same legs, brain, head. I can do something I'm passionate about also. So in my world, there's no limit. Limits are only thing that I put for myself. If I can remove that limits when deal with myself, then I can remove it for other people also.
I want to thank you so much for sharing all of your experiences.
Thank you.
Your inspiration, your words of wisdom and advice that you did share with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for being with us again and for joining us.
My pleasure.